Going back to the origins of Freegold, how did it came into existence? I mean, it's a very good system, so why hasn't it been used before, or why aren't we using it today?
Yes, that's a very good question. The past 50 years, people, the ones on top of financial monetary governance, they really had that big problem with gold. A fixed dollar gold standard or free floating gold. They never really got out of it. And I refer to Francis de Gaulle and his chief Jacques Rouet. Those people realized that the dollar system and the dollar regime had an enormous privilege of having their dollar being the world's reserve, without gold playing a significant disciplining role anymore. Now, the reason or the way the dollar system and regime could govern, manipulate, freeze the gold price by not letting it float freely is that they invented the gold contract market. So we went from a physical gold market where you entered into a bank, gave a note, and received a piece of gold metal in physical form. So that paper gold contract market was built just to freeze, to control, to manipulate the gold price so that its main competitor, the dollar, remained king of the road. Now, it is very difficult to change 7 decades and even more. It's almost 100 years. Just remember that the Federal Reserve was erected in 1913, so that's almost 100 years. It is very difficult to change gradually or suddenly or abruptly from a fixed gold price standard to a free floating gold standard. It has to go gradually, and that is exactly what the European Central Bank wants to do by marking to market its gold reserve on the free floating gold price of the day. They do it gradually. They don't force the dollar to abdicate and to make place for gold reserve, because that would be so shocking that all the world global economical, financial, monetary balances would be rocked like hell. And that's not the purpose. We just have to go it gradually. How much time it will take, I don't know. But we already started. In 1999, by the birth of the euro, gold started to rise on an average of 17% a year. That's a very, very nice thing for those who are having all their savings in gold.
Absolutely. So you mentioned a very important thing, I think. So free gold or free floating gold is basically used by those central banks who mark their gold reserves to market value on a regular basis, which is obviously the European Central Bank and, as I understand, also the upcoming BRIC countries. But it's not the USA or the Treasury of the USA. In that respect, how do you see it playing out then with the dollar? Because I think those who control the dollar and their reserve status most likely want to extend that privilege as long as possible. Do you see the dollar actually moving to something like free gold in the end as well?
That's a very tough one. Yes, they will have to. Because at the moment, they are still the only one who is not having gold in their central bank as a reserve asset. The U.S. gold is by the U.S. Treasury, not in the Federal Reserve. So, as long as the dollar thinks that he can rule the world, he will make no move or whatsoever to free floating gold. And that's okay with the rest of the world. They don't want to force the dollar regime or the dollar system into a free floating gold reserve. They just do it on their own, step by step. The Chinese, the Russians, the Saudis, Europe, even Mexico or South America. The states who do have a lot of gold in their ground, like Canada or Australia, they don't have to put gold on their central bank reserves. Their wealth just sits beneath them underground. So, your question, when is America going to shift to free gold or free floating gold? I'm inclined to answer they will never do, but we don't know how things will change in the world. Will there ever be a war between America and China? Will China take over world dominance? These are really questions I can't answer today.
Right, of course, but I'm just curious to find out if America is not going to accept a discipline on their growth or their debt growth. Then do you see like a hyperinflation in the dollar being experienced in the future?
Yes, America is never going to accept any discipline or monetary financial orthodoxy as we see here in Europe. On the contrary, they are going to force the entire world to be as undisciplined as they are. Just because they are the biggest one, they are the leader, they are the mightiest one. They still want to impose their dollar on the entire world. Now, if this is going to change one day, they will try to make a Bretton Woods-like agreement where they keep all the leverages on their side, all the power, the controlling power under the dollar system and regime. But the world has changed, and now the world is not ruled anymore by a dominant U.S. and a following Euroland. Now we have China and the East. The Asians are an upcoming power, and America will have it very difficult to keep Euroland as a partner, as a transatlantic partner. I see Euroland shifting to the east, and then America will have a very difficult time coming, which already is here. And I see that increasing, and we don't know how they are going to react once they realize they start getting out of power, out of control. We don't know what will happen. World War III, I don't know.
One thing for sure, interesting times are ahead.
Exactly.
Right, so wrapping up, how did you learn about Freegold or Freegold as a concept?
Well, that was mainly by accident, just on the internet. World Wide Web, I discovered the gold trail. The gold trail is still on the web. And that's just two persons, not named, who named themselves another and friend of another, and they produced 200 pages of free gold theory and a question and answers, and free gold was born. The idea was born. It is such a fascinating story that I can advise that everyone should read it. The Gold Trail, as simple as that.
I can only concur. It's a very interesting story, especially as it was written, I believe, in 1998, so quite a while ago.
Yes, yes.
Yes, indeed. So, thank you very much, sir, for talking to us. It has been a real pleasure.
The pleasure was mine, sir.
For more information, please visit freegoldcapital.com or discuss this interview, Freegold and all of its aspects at freegoldforum.com.